All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another round of the Austin Urban Technology Movement Cohort Series. We are here to welcome Road to Hire and all things related to our paid training program. I definitely would like Stephen Hatchett, our VP of Programming, to get things started. So I'll pass it over to you.
Hey, thank you, Issa. My name is Stephen Hatchett. I am the Vice President of Programming at Austin Urban Technology Movement, also known as AUTM. We are here to bridge the gap between Black and Hispanic communities and the tech industry. One of the things that we do is bridging that gap through workforce development, networking, and job placement. And one of the things that brought me to AUTM was this mission. In previous roles, definitely felt like I didn't really have a lot of hands-on experience around trying to sort of bridge that gap a little bit more formally. And Autumn is definitely allowing me to do that more directly. And I think that has a lot to do with its current partners like Road to Hire. And as we get this, introduce Carlo Moore, who is here to help explain all of the different ways in which, if it's about going into tech, the various ways to sort of make that work. I'm gonna let Carlos go ahead and introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Pleasure to see you again, my man. Hello, everyone. My name is Carlo Moore. I'm a senior associate here at Road to Hire. Super excited to be here to tell you all things about Road to Hire and how we are working with Autumn to, like Stephen said, bridge that gap in the tech field. So glad to be here.
All right, Carlo, what type of candidate are you looking for?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Stephen. I think there's like three things that we look for in a candidate. One, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 25. Two, you have to have either a high school diploma or a GED equivalent. But I think the biggest thing that we look for in a candidate, Stephen, is someone who is extremely motivated, that has an open mind, someone that, you don't have to have, tech experience, but someone who's extremely motivated to learn, that will teach you everything you need to know.
Okay, got it. I guess the other question would be kind of, what kind of requirements do you need in order to sort of be eligible for this opportunity?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, the biggest requirements is that you either have your high school diploma, GED equivalent, or you can have an associate's degree, so 2 years of college experience. We're not looking for anyone with a college degree, but the biggest requirement is that the age range between 18 to 25. Other than that, we want you to come ready, hungry, and willing to learn. We're going to teach you, I'm going to walk you through a little later on some of the things that we're going to teach you, but extremely motivated. You have to have an open mind because it is a grind, but at the end of the day, it's going to be well worth it.
Okay. I guess the other thing too is just like walk us through the actual program, like the steps to complete. What does that look like?
For sure. So the first thing that you have to do is apply, right? And so once you actually fill out that application, you'll have an interview. The interview is going to be with someone from our team. Once you go through that interview, you'll go through something we call Gateway. And Gateway is an opportunity, we like to say it's an extended interview. So it's an opportunity for us to get to know you to get to know us and understand a little bit more about the program. Through that Gateway portion, we're going to teach you 2 coding languages. So we're going to teach you CSS and HTML, and you're actually going to build your own website through that Gateway experience. And as you're building your own website, not only are we going to help you build that, but we're going to teach you how to present your website from the back end of actually what the coding is, and then also how to present it in a nice, professional, formal way. Through that, you'll get a nice taste of what to expect through this program. And after that, we will decide like, hey, is Stephen ready to join this program? And if he is, then we'll bring you into the actual program. And then from there, you get paid to learn. We like to call it earning while learning. So you get paid to go through our program from there.
Is it full-time, part-time? Is it virtual, in person?
Great question. This is all full-time. So you're going to get a stipend, a weekly stipend from us, paid full-time. It's going to be virtual because we don't know, knock on wood, what COVID has in store, but it's going to be virtual. And you'll have a mentor. You'll gain so much throughout this. And the beautiful thing, Stephen, is that you're not alone through this. It's going to be a cohort of people who are going to join you in this program and help you along the way as you learn all these different coding languages that we'll teach.
I love it. I love it. And I guess the biggest thing too is like what is required outside of the classroom? And I know you talked about kind of building that website. Mentorship networking.
Yeah.
Like, can you walk us through that part?
Yeah, good question. I'm glad you asked that, Stephen, because some people think that like once you leave the class, for that day that the work is done. And that's not necessarily true. I think you can attest to that working for Autumn, right? The work isn't done after 5 o'clock, right? There's things that you're going to have to do outside of that. And so through this program, there's going to be opportunities to gain mentors, and not only just one mentor. You're going to have 2 mentors. You're going to have a life mentor who will help you walk through not only the trials of life and what may be happening outside of class, but then also some of the professional development skills that we'll be teaching. You'll be able to have a life mentor there, but also you'll have a tech mentor who will help you with coding languages. So say that you have a class on HTML and you're having some issues on truly understanding what's taking place. You're going to have someone who is actually going to walk you through that coding language. There's also be opportunities to network. So different employer partners that we partner with, you have an opportunity to network with some of those people. I think the cool thing that I've seen through some of our cohort members is study hours. So after they're done with class, they will get together on another Zoom call and study together throughout all of that. But there's also going to be things that you're going to have to do with Autumn as well outside of this particular program. So it's a lot of different things and a lot of people who are supporting you along the way to make sure that you succeed and get to that end goal.
You got any amazing stories from any mentors that can talk about what that relationship was like, developing that over doing the cohort time frame?
Too many to count. I actually can give you one of my stories. So before I start working for Road to Hire, I actually was a mentor for the program. And so for me to be able to develop a really long-lasting relationship with so many amazing students through this program, it's just been so fulfilling for me. Like we always tell mentors that you're going to get more out of it than the mentee will. And yes. I can definitely tell that I've gained so much from some of the students. For instance, one student mentioned to me that, he was like, hey man, like I really want to work hard. I'm going to do my best. He was one of the first people in class, the last one to leave. Oh, wow. And now he's doing extremely well working in Phoenix, Arizona now. He's able to provide for not only him, but his family as well. And he showed me that off letter, like he was in tears. I was like tearing up. Like it was just an amazing opportunity. And he just gave me a huge, big hug and just said, thank you. And I knew I had a little piece of that puzzle, to say like, hey, I was able to help. And that's just one of many stories from our mentors who've come. And now, like, even if they're working at some of our employer partners now, they still have that relationship with the mentors, which I think is awesome. So
I love it. And again, being able to walk hand in hand with somebody that maybe has a similar background to you, that may be nervous about this experience, and having somebody like you to look up to. I know that's definitely important to have in any program trying to get folks into technology. So I really commend you guys for making that part of the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
So is that, you talked about him having an offer letter. What's the most expected outcome from graduating from this program?
Yeah, the most expected outcome. I think the one thing we always say is that we're not going to guarantee you a job, right? You can't just guarantee like you're going to get a job, but we can guarantee that you will have an interview and land an interview with one of our 10 employer partners. And so throughout this particular program, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to, one, be confident in the role that you can go into, but then two, be able to ace that interview. So you'll have mock interviews. You'll be meeting with your mentors to kind of walk through like, hey, this is what your resume should look like. This is what your LinkedIn should look like. This is a mock interview. This is a tech mock interview, because if you know anything about the tech field, yes, you have to pass that professional development or that behavioral interview, but you also have to pass that tech case study. And so we're going to prepare you. You're going to have a lot of different practice rounds so that when you go into that meeting with a Bank of America, a Lowe's, a Truist, a Red Ventures, who are some of the employer partners that we have, you're going to go in extremely confident knowing that, hey, I prepared for this. I've been practicing this for the last 6 months of this program, and I'm ready to tackle it. So the expected outcome is that you ace that interview, and now you have a full-time role at one of our employer partners.
Got it. And you talked a little bit about sort of some of those job positions for graduates. What are some folks, what type of roles are they going into?
Yeah. So, we have a few different programs through at Road to Hire. But we're excited to bring to Austin the coding, basically the coding program. So we have front end developers, we have back end developers, we have software engineers, we have associate engineers, we have some people who went into project management for basically managing projects for engineers. And so one thing that you'll learn is that when you think of coding, you think that it's just, oh, I'm just going to be coding something on the website. But once you dig a little deeper into what coding truly is, it opens Pandora's box. And you'll be learning that through the 6-month program to say like, I'm interested in the front end side of things, or, oh, I'm interested in the full stack, being a full stack developer, or I'm interested in being an app developer. But depending on what the employer partners need and the roles that they have, we'll let our students know. And then they'll figure out what their strengths are, what they can work on, and what they're truly interested in.
And I think you talked a little bit about some of your employer partners. Want to kind of maybe go in more depth about who they are?
For sure. So I think one thing I will say is that, this program would not be as successful as it is if it wasn't for our employer partners. And so we have 10 employer partners currently. Most of them are located in Charlotte. However, as they are growing, they want us to grow as well. And they said, we can take this other places. And now that's one of the reasons that we are in Austin. I'm super excited about it. But yeah, like I mentioned before, we have Lowe's, we have Red Ventures, Bank of America, Truist, Ally, just to name a few. A lot of businesses around the financial side of things. Novant Health, just to name another one. So the beautiful thing is all of our students will be exposed to all of these companies, and the companies will bring either directors, CEOs, or recruiters to come in and be guest speakers for our program. So they'll be able to see so many of different people, and from there they can say, I'm interested in working at Red Ventures. Oh, I'm interested in working at Ally. I'm interested in working at Lowe's. And then from there we can help them get and land that interview.
Okay, I love that, because it's really about folks being able to come in and seeing it's a light at the end of the tunnel. Right. I can see myself at Lowe's. I can see myself at Red Ventures. Mm-hmm. And I think that is sort of takes a lot of the anxiety out of whether or not this is a possibility for me. Mm-hmm. But I think let's talk more about that anxiety piece, because folks are looking at this opportunity. It looks like too big to be true. Mm-hmm. What kind of advice would you give somebody unsure about joining your cohort coming up in September?
Yeah. Great question. I always, whenever I'm speaking to students, I always say, like, this seems like a scam, doesn't it? It seems like it's too good to be true. You're going to pay me a weekly stipend for 6 months. And then at the end, I get to land an interview with one of these top companies to earn a higher earning career. No, that's fake. Or how the young people say, that's cap, right? No, not necessarily. This is an opportunity for you to take hold of your future. And if you are extremely motivated and you're interested in wanting to learn or do something different, then I would definitely encourage you to do this. One thing I always say to students as well is never compare yourself and your journey to others. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has an equal opportunity to let their hard work be met with an opportunity. And that's what we're here for. We're here to set you up for success, support you along the way. And so if you're interested in trying something different, and you have a little inkling of what tech is, I promise you we will teach you everything you need to know in order for you to confidently and boldly step into your future as a coder, as a developer, as an engineer. And so, yeah, take that first step. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah. And I love that, because, again, you're talking about when that student, he got that offer letter and how much he was impacted from the perspective of, I did this, right? Yeah. I took this really supposedly hard thing. Mm-hmm. I did what I was supposed to do. I had really strong mentors, and I landed the job of my dreams. And I think that's a really, really powerful understanding of kind of the Road to Hire piece to this.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. And I think the awesome thing about it too, Stephen, is that 95% of the people who have gone through our program are still at their company that they got that interview and landed the job with. And out of that, 87% of them are now either within that first year promoted or got a comp raise, which I think is absolutely amazing to think through. And so if you stick with it, there's an opportunity to continue to stay at that role and then also advance to to director or senior, wherever you want to be. And so I feel like in the next few years, Stephen, a CEO is going to come out of this program, which I can't wait to see. So yeah, stick with it.
Well, tell us more about Road to Hire. How long have you guys been doing this?
Yeah, so we've been around since 2014, and so we've learned a lot through this particular thing and through this particular journey that we have been on. We're really big on creating, impacting, and improving economic justice in everywhere we go. We understand that there's certain people who are under-resourced that are super smart, super willing to do things, and we want to provide that opportunity through this program. And so all we are is a connector, right, of trying to make sure we get those under-resourced young adults, people of color, and women who haven't really been in the tech field, or basically the numbers are lower, to bring them over into this tech field and disrupt the norm that we have been seeing.
I love it. Well, Carlo, this is the time in the program where we bring on a Road to Hire alum so we can get more inside detail from a participant about their experience. How are you, Miss Wright?
Hi. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can.
Great.
Yes, glad to have you here. Thank you for being on. So I'll just go to give you a second to introduce yourself, and then we'll go right into the actual questions.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Artia, Wright. I'm actually a recent graduate of Road to Hire coding bootcamp or coding program. And my area in that program was actually front-end development. From completing that program, I was able to land a position as an associate design engineer with Truist. And I'm coming up on my 5th month actually being there. So it's been exciting. Being in the tech industry has been great, fulfilling. You learn a lot and you meet a lot of great people. So it's been great.
I love to hear it. So I guess maybe kind of delve deep into kind of what that experience is like. How did you learn about Road to Hire, and why did you join?
Yeah, I feel like my experience with finding out about Road to Hire may be different from my peers. I think a lot of my peers that found out about Road to Hire was recommended through family or friends, through people just hearing about Road to Hire within the area of Charlotte. But at the time, I was actually putting together an event for my nonprofit that actually caters towards like younger age adults or college students looking for college alternatives. I guess long story short, I became my own client when I invited Road to Hire to my event. And after just reading about them and understanding that I always wanted to get into the tech space, but just wasn't sure if I really wanted to go back to college full time to do so. After reading about Road to Hire, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I need to sign up for this. And so I did, and I've been grateful that I did ever since. So yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's the biggest thing is, the alternative to college, right? And sometimes there aren't that many opportunities. And when you find something that fits and you stick with it, the end result is, becoming the next Miss Wright. So I think that is amazing. So I think you joined, you applied. What was your overall experience? Can you kind of walk us through what that looks like maybe for the average person that's thinking about going to the program?
Yeah, so I will be honest to say initially I was a little worried, right? Because it's like Carlo said, it's like, wow, okay, wait, you're going to pay me, number one, to actually learn, and you're going to actually equip me with the appropriate and enough information to land a job? Like, I don't know. So the skepticism was there, but I will say upon like getting into the Gateway program and getting approved to go through the program, you find quickly that there's ample amount of support, ample amount of resources that are there to literally equip you with everything that you need to make it through the program. It is rigorous. It was fast paced for me. A lot of long nights, a lot of dedication and determination involved. But in the end, it was totally worth it. And I was just happy to smile and wave at everybody as I was graduating and stepping into my new position as associate design engineer. So it was awesome.
Maybe can you walk us through kind of like the ins and outs of after class? What did you do? How was your experience with your mentor? Those types of things.
So after class, so I think a normal day, if I had to describe what a day was like within Road to Hire as a student, For me, it was waking up at 8 a.m. in the morning, going to the classes that they have set out to kind of learn for the day. Also utilizing any resources that they've allocated to equip myself with enough information to work on projects. Of course, after the day ended at 5 o'clock, the day didn't really end because if you're working on projects, you still have a lot of things to kind of piece together to make it work. But like Carlos said, those study groups at night are real. I've definitely set up a couple of calls with maybe like 20 students in it, and we all just focused on, the task at hand, getting the project done, lending information, a helping hand, whatever it was, to make sure that everybody fully understood what the assignment was, and was also ready to present if that was something that we needed to do. So that was probably like 5 days out of the week.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So what was that relationship like for with the students that was in the program for you?
Yeah, so I would say that's the other great part about Road to Hire is that you meet other determined individuals that are on the same path as you. And so within that, you create a bond. These are still people that I call to this day, even from like work, like, hey, I have this issue. Have you heard about it? Yes. Okay, great. Let's hop on a call. And so we really have just that connection, that network, which is really large, to be honest, from recent or previous Road to Hire graduates. So the relationships are really close and everybody is steadily climbing, learning, growing, progressing, and just being motivating to each other. So it's been awesome to have. I guess I can say now friends.
And now peers, hopefully, right? They're
Yeah,
now hopefully working at the same companies. They're also at the same level in some ways. So I definitely love to hear that.
and different companies. Some
And
of them
different
are
companies.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I guess the next question would be kind of if you have that student into the previous question we asked Carlo, how do you prepare for Word to Hire? How would a student or an individual interested in this program prepare to sort of enter into this particular opportunity?
Yeah. So for me, I did like a little preparation, just doing research, doing just like light work amount of research in regards to the things that I expected us to learn. But I quickly realized that the research wasn't necessary. And I think that just goes to say preparation isn't something that you entirely need because everything is already there for you. The only thing I will say is prepare to be determined, prepare to work through things as much as need because you're going to have hiccups, you're going to have moments where it's like, oh man, I don't even know if I could do this. But if you have to prepare mentally. And I think as long as you are fully there mentally, everything else is a breeze. So yeah, it didn't take much preparation really.
That's good to hear. Because it also talks to folks who don't necessarily understand kind of how big this is, right? This opportunity that you just went into. And it's just a little bit leery about, is this really for me? And it sounds like, for those that have the fortitude, it can be.
Yeah, definitely. Tech experience isn't something that you need as like a prerequisite. You don't really have to understand a lot about tech, maybe a little bit. I actually came from a social work background. So I did social work as a human service specialist for about 3 years before actually coming to Road to Hire. So tech was there. Obviously, I had to know how to troubleshoot computers and things of that nature through my previous work.
Yes.
But understanding frameworks and what JavaScript is and understanding the difference between front and back end, definitely not. But of course, after completing the program, it was all second nature. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely sounds like you know what you're talking about. And that's a testament to the type of program that you're in. I guess the other thing so you went through the process, you created these amazing friendships, had really amazing mentors that help you get through this process to complete. I think the other question is like, walk us through what happened next. Like, how did you end up at the job you're at now?
Yeah. So before I actually got to the job that I was at now, it definitely took some practice, which I'm grateful for. from Road to Hire as well. Kind of putting me in touch with my mentors. We had two. We had a life mentor and also a technical mentor. So utilizing my technical mentor to really understand the different jargon, the language that was going to be necessary to get into those interviews and know what I'm talking about, because that was going to be important. And obviously, taking some of the experience that I had from my previous work, I was able to really just appeal to Truist, which was one of my top picks of the companies I wanted to be with. Thankfully, I was accepted by them. But yeah, so after, pretty much doing the interview and I guess them feeling that I was equipped to bring something fresh to the industry that they were in, and also with the rebranding and the rebuilding that they were doing, they offered me a position as associate design engineer. So I was happy to take that. And upon getting into Truist, I realized that it was actually set up just like Road to Hire. I had two mentors that were there to guide me through the beginning stages of my position, and make sure that I have the resources that I need to feel equipped to do my job, and also network with other people. So yes, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that, because I think it also goes to sort of another point. Because if you have folks on this call who are very interested in the actual program, I think some insights from this question will definitely help them to kind of make up their minds. If you could go back in time, what would you do differently?
Ooh, if I could go back in time, what I'd do differently?
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one, but it's always fun. I'm ready to hear this one. Yes.
Oh man, because maybe I'm just like the one coin in the bucket that just feels like everything went so smoothly. Um, yeah, if I had to change one thing, I would make my exit project bigger. I would make my exit project bigger. So, of course, part of Road to Hire, once you graduate, you actually build your own portfolio that just exhibits the amount of projects that you actually were able to complete during the program, and also to showcase your level of understanding and skill when it comes to different frameworks or languages. So, if I had to go back, I would just make my portfolio bigger to just showcase how much I was able to learn and accumulate during my time at Road to Hire. So yeah, I think that would probably be the only thing I would change.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for the insight. Because again, it helps folks to know, like, as I'm learning these things, it's really important for you to document that experience, because
Definitely.
those are the things that employers are looking at in order to evaluate whether or not they should invite you on and get that job offer.
Yeah, definitely. Although I will say, we learned quite a bit in Road to Hire. I think the biggest thing to learn or to take away is to understand that the experience is more so about learning how to learn. If you can teach yourself how to work through curriculums, how to research, how to find information, even if you leave Road to Hire and you get into a position where maybe you're not using the same coding languages as you did in Road to Hire, but you know how to teach yourself how to use it. And I think if that's a skill that you can hold on to, you can essentially get a job anywhere doing anything. So that would be my 2 cents in regards to that.
So it sounds like the experience kind of changed your life a little bit in some kind of way, right?
Definitely. Definitely. I would say for me, I became my own client. I am very passionate. I'm an advocate for people who don't actually see college as an option, but still want to be successful in life. And I would definitely say Road to Hire, amongst all the programs that I know in the Charlotte area, are definitely one of those programs that will help you grow to that space, and help you get into a space where you feel like I can really grow in the tech industry and really create a solid foundation and a career for myself. So I would say I have been able to do that, and I can see and feel and know that I'll be able to grow into other positions later, down the road if that's what I choose to do.
Got it. So, last question. You've done all these really amazing things in the program. You're hopefully got your dream job. It sounds like you do. What exactly are your plans for the future?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it's always to continue to give back to the program that gave to me. So I'm still going to continue to volunteer and network with the people that Road to Hire, screaming to the top of the mountain, make sure that everybody knows about them because this is really a solid opportunity. But outside of that, definitely continue to grow within my career as an associate design engineer with the hopes to move into a Scrum Master position. Which I've been lucky enough to connect with some mentors who are helping me kind of lay out that track to get there. So I'm confident that with my connection and network and with the time that I'm going to allot to get there, I'll be able to accomplish that.
Well, I know you will. And just
Thank you.
in having this brief conversation, it sounds like you're definitely on your way to achieving all of the goals that you set for yourself. And I think Road to Hire has been sort of an asset, a
Definitely.
tool in your tool belt to help you to do that in the future.
Absolutely.
So I guess that kind of leads us into our next section, our Q&A. We're opening it up to our audience. We bring it back Carlo so he can ask a lot of those technical questions that any folks might actually have. And this is an opportunity to ask questions. Again, no question is a dumb one. This is about getting as much information as you can to really determine for yourself if this is the right fit for you. So get some questions coming in a second. But I guess before we do that, I'll kind of take it back to Carlo to simple question. What are you looking forward to in regards to sort of this next class?
Yeah. This is going to be the first inaugural class in Austin. And so I'm super excited to see how this goes, to meet some Austin folks. Hopefully we have some Automites in this program. And so I think that's what's exciting about it, is that we're expanding this to Austin, Texas. And so to get people from Austin and then see this program through and then having them work at one of our employer companies, I think that's the part that excites me the most.
Yes, and this is definitely the second largest tech hub in the country. It's rapidly growing, and diversity is a concern for a lot of folks that live here. So this is definitely the best place I can see Road to Hire expanding to. And I know Autumn is excited to partner with you in order to secure some really dope talent for this next cohort.
For sure.
Doesn't look like we have any questions. Issa, do you see any on Facebook and YouTube? Okay. All right, cool. It looks like we're wrapping up. I'll kind of leave it to Carlo and Ms. Wright to kind of maybe close us out with some words to encourage folks to kind of take it to the next level and make sure that they go to the Autumn program in order to start that process. But before we do that, I think we have Issa that wants to come up and give us a call to action before we close out. Wait, I think we got one question from Carl. What is the attrition rate for the program?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, we've had 95% of our students have been placed. And that are still currently placed in their program right now. And like I mentioned before, 87% of them have been promoted within that first year. So going really well so far. I think we've had 297 people go through this program already, which is awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Like sometimes you don't even see those types of placement rates at higher ed institutions, and the fact that it's above 90, that says a lot for how robust that program is.
Great question, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. All right, if no more questions, we'll bring back Issa for that call to action.
Yes. Thank you, Artia, and thank you, Carlo. I am going to let you guys rest a little minute, and I'm going to talk about the call of action here. Stephen, let me give you a break too. So everybody's asking, so we learn all this information, all this is great. What next? Great question. So I'm going to not only share here on the banner the link for you to navigate over to join Autumn as well as start working with Road to Hire, but I'm going to also share to you on our screen how you're going to navigate to that place on our website. So as Stephen mentioned in the beginning, Autumn is focusing on an increased amount of Black and Hispanic people in the tech industry. We all know that there's a significant gap in representation, and so what we're here to do is we're here to promote filling that gap with workforce development, networking, job placement. And so in order to go ahead and get started with Autumn, which provides, like I said, the mentorship matching programs, the hard skills and soft skills sections are upskilling, like what you would do with, for example, Road to Hire. You're also focusing on the job placement piece and matching up with an employer, working with our events and having more exposure and access to individuals who are already in the tech space to build a support system or network and have more more of a relationship in the space versus kind of going in cold. So we want to make sure all things that we do with Autumn is tying you into the tech space and making more of a sustainable individual to become a leader in the space. And so to go ahead and get started and working with Road to Hire, we want to make sure that you navigate to our website. So initially I was on our homepage. I pressed resources and went to individuals. Well, go down to individuals. And on that page, it'll look like this. You can go ahead and navigate down to our form that is loading here on the screen. And this is where we call this our cohort apprenticeship selection form. And so you would put your name, first name, last name, email address, phone number, and then you would then select right here, Road to Hire Coding, right there on the list. And so that way we can go ahead and get you started with Road to Hire's program and get you on your way to starting, as they mentioned, that interview process as well as the sessions and then the gateway process. And so that's how we want to make sure we are bringing you in the right way. If you have any questions, Autumn's here. Me, Stephen, Carlo, and our Artias here as well. And Carlo, I'm gonna bring you back. Just kind of want to make sure if you could share any information in terms of the application process. You can spit out that date so people, not only can see it, but they can also memorize it. And you can also maybe share any other items that, might help them in the interview application process.
For sure. So like you said, please go to this particular website, fill out this form. From there, we will send you all the information you need to know and to do to fill out the application. From the application, like we mentioned earlier with Stephen, you'll have your interview. One thing I'll always tell people when it comes to the interview process is be yourself, be authentic. We're not looking for you to have every answer correct. We're not looking for you to have all the tech experience in the world. We're going to teach you all of that. We want to make sure that you're motivated about this, you're open-minded, and we want to see the authenticity there. So super excited to see you all there, and hopefully you can fill out this form and apply.
And what's the deadline to join this upcoming cohort?
Yeah, so I would say I would apply as soon as possible. We haven't really considered on that deadline yet. We're kind of opening it up and extending that deadline. So I would say apply ASAP to get into this particular position or this next cohort that's coming. And so it's filling up fast. We want to make sure that we get as many automites as we can.
All right, definitely. And I will definitely drop the link off in the comment section, and that's going to Autumn's website, so autmtx.org / the Autumn site in general, and then you have /individuals to navigate over to that form. So make sure you join us on our website. We definitely want to make sure we get you in contact with Road to Hire to start your career essentially today. So thanks. I'll bring everybody back on. Thanks everybody for joining. We really appreciate the time you've spent, having this conversation with us today. Thank you to the Road to Hire team for sharing your input. And that, really means a lot in terms of us understanding and put a name with a face to the program versus, just kind of doing this on our own. And that's what we want to do in our community, is making sure that we're, sharing this information on a personal level, because that's, at the end of the day, word of mouth is still bond. So thanks for joining, and we are signing out until the next time. Y'all have a good one.
Take care.